Brought to you by Curtis & Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg. 256-245-4361. Your Dignity Memorial Funeral Home for burials and cremations is Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Funeral service for Clifford W. Ashley, age 82, of Sylacauga, will be today at 2 o'clock at Curtis & Son North. I will officiate that service. Burial in the Evergreen Cemetery with military honors. The station today from 12 until 2 p.m. at the funeral home. Mr. Ashley was a 21-year veteran of the United States Air Force. Online condolences at curtisondsonfh.com. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing. Memorial service for Mr. Waits Neil Lothridge, age 81, of Sylacauga, is Saturday at 11 a.m. from First Methodist Church in Sylacauga, with the Reverend James Haskins officiating. Mr. Lothridge died August 26 at Coosa Valley Medical Center. He proudly served in the United States Army. Online condolences at curtisondsonfh.com. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing. Mr. James Robert Van Zant, age 59, of Sylacauga, died August 24th. Funeral service for Mr. Van Zant, graveside service on Saturday, September 3rd at 2 p.m. from Fayetteville Methodist Church. I will officiate that service. Visitation Saturday from noon until 2 at the church. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing. Funeral service for Beatty Black Jr., age 70, of Sylacauga, will be Saturday at 11 a.m. at the Sanctuary Church of God. I'll be officiating that service. Burial in the Evergreen Cemetery. Visitation tonight at the North Chapel from 5:30 until 8 p.m. Mr. Black was retired from Avondale Mills and a volunteer coach at B.B. Coleman School for some 25 years. Online condolences at curtisondsonfh.com. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing. Funeral service for Bryce Thornton, age 87, of Sylacauga, is today at 2 o'clock from the chapel of Radley Smith Funeral Home, with the Reverend Freddie Edwards officiating. Burial in the New Site Baptist Church Cemetery. Mr. Thornton died at his residence on August 31st. Visitation today, noon until 2 p.m. at the funeral home. Flowers will be accepted, or contribution can be made to the Alzheimer's Association in Mr. Thornton's name. Memorial messages can be sent to the family at radleysmith.com. Radley Smith Funeral Home, Sylacauga, directing. Frank E. Mount, age 79, of Childersburg, died this morning in his residence. Funeral arrangements to be announced by Radley Smith Funeral Home. Funeral service for William Gus Edwards, age 77, of Talladega, is today at 2 p.m. from Hephzibah Baptist Church. The Reverend Harvey Boland Sr. officiating. Burial in the Hephzibah Cemetery. The family receiving friends today 1 until 2 at the church. Mr. Edwards died at his residence August 31st. Online condolences at earthstreetfuneralhome.com. Earth Street Funeral Home in Talladega, directing. Funeral service for Mrs. Mary Margaret Wimberly Goodwin, age 91, of Alexander City, is today at 2 o'clock from Alexander City's First United Methodist Church, with the Reverend Blue Vardaman and the Reverend Mike Densmore officiating. Mrs. Goodwin died August 29th at Chapman Healthcare Center. She was a member of the First United Methodist Church in Alexander City. Memorial messages can be sent to the family at radleyfuneralhome.com. Radley Funeral Home, directing. Memorial service for Mrs. Muriel Jean Spraggins, age 81, will be Saturday at 10 a.m. from Flint Hill United Methodist Church. Memorial messages can be sent to the family at radleyfuneralhome.com. Ms. Spraggins was a member of the Flint Hill United Methodist Church, and in lieu of flowers, the family requests that memorial contributions be given to the Flint Hill United Methodist Church in Alexander City. Radley Funeral Home, directing. Mr. James Earl Farmer, age 76, of Talladega, died August 31st at UAB in Birmingham. Funeral service will be 11 o'clock Saturday at Earth Street Funeral Home in Talladega, with Dan Maddox officiating. The family receiving friends from 10 a.m. until 11 a.m. prior to the service. Mr. Farmer was a lifelong resident of Talladega and a graduate of Winterboro High School. In lieu of flowers, memorials can be made to the Alzheimer's Foundation of America. Flowers will be accepted, or memorials can be made to the Alzheimer's Foundation of America. Ursery Funeral Home in Talladega directing that service. Funeral service for Mrs. Martha Oden Cottingham, age 71, is Saturday at noon from Union Baptist Church in Stewartville. Burial in the church cemetery. Visitation today, noon until 8 p.m. at the funeral home. The body will lie in state 1 hour prior to the service at the church. Mrs. Cottingham died August the 18th at her residence, Community Funeral Home in Sylacauga, in charge of the arrangements. This obituary report brought to you by Curtis & Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg. 256-245-4361. Your Dignity Memorial Funeral Home for burials and cremations is Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg.